The last thing that we want to talk about is what's called a box and whisker plot and how to draw one. The idea behind a box and whisker plot is that we will take a number line and use some kind of regular intervals, let's say 10s, 20s. You have to have some kind of normal interval. You can't jump around. And you're going to find 5 pieces of information. The minimum data value, the Q1, the Q2, which is also the median, the Q3, and the maximum. And the way it'll look is the Q1, Q2, and Q3 will make up the Q1, Q2, and Q3 will make up the box part of your box and whisker. And what'll happen is whatever your Q1 is, and I'm just drawing something in, will be the start of your box. Whatever your Q3 is will be the end of your box. So you'll finish off your box like that, starting at Q1 and ending at Q3. And Q2, it's the middle number, should be just some kind of line somewhere in the middle. It's not going to be necessarily right in the middle. It might be on the left side, it might be on the right side. The last part is going to be how do you draw in your whiskers. Well, your whiskers are going to come from your min and your max. In your min and your max, you'll do 2 little hash marks or lines here. One for your min and one for your max, and then you'll connect them to your box. And these parts that we just drew in, these parts are called your whiskers because they kind of hang off like whiskers. So what's awesome though is we have our TI-83 and TI-84 calculators, and they can actually do all of this for us. So how do we do this? Well, we're going to have a list of data like we do in this first one, and we already know how to enter in lists of data. We learned how to do this in a previous section where you have to go to the stat key, then you choose edit, and just like before, put all of your information in list 1. Then just like before, what we'll do is we'll press stat one more time after all of our data is inputted, arrow to the right once to calculate just like before, and we're going to run the same test we did before, a 1 variable stats, except for last time we used the first part of the information. We used the mean and the standard deviation to figure out what was usual or unusual. What we're going to do is we're going to keep on arrowing down. There's an arrow button. You can use the arrow down button on your calculator to arrow down. Hit it several times until you start seeing the following information, which you see on the second side here. And what you'll notice is that you see a min, a Q1, a median, which is your Q2, a Q3, and a max. Those are the 5 numbers we need to draw. So if you do all this in your calculator, I'll give you a second. Let's see what you end up with. So continuing along, what you'll end up with is the following. Once you press your enter on your 1 variable stats and then you arrow down a bunch of times, as you'll see the following list. So what we're going to do is translate what they gave me. So what they gave me here was a minimum value of 3. They gave me a Q1 of 11, a Q2 or a median of 40, and a Q3 of 61. And lastly, we have a maximum value for our data of 94. So now all I need to do is draw in my box and whisker plot. So let's see. I need to draw a number line first of all. I'm going to do this by hand, so I'll do the best I can. The smallest value we have is 3, and the largest value we have is 94. So I'm going to start at 0 and work up in units of 10, because I'm going to go pretty much from 0 to 100. And let's see if I can go ahead and draw a number line that way so I can get hopefully all the numbers in. And it looks like I'm going to run out of room here, so I'm going to keep on making my number line go as far as I can. Okay, good enough. And for thoroughness, what was this about? It was about test grades, so I'm going to put the grades down here. I'm going to label this. And so my box, I always do my box first. You don't have to do this. I find it easier to do that. So I'm going to do my box using my Q1, my Q2, and my Q3. Remember, Q1, the 11, should be where I start my box. It doesn't have to be perfect. And I'm going to end my box at 61, my Q3. And that should create the shape of my box. And I know a lot of people like to do this so that in case there's any confusion about what the values are, especially if you're hand drawing in a graph, it's up to you though. As long as you write the Q1, Q2, and Q3 somewhere, I'm not really worried about it. And then the last one, the Q2 is 40, goes right in the middle. It's our Q2, or our median, which is 40. So that's actually half of our picture. Now I just need to do my whiskers. My whiskers are the minimum at 3, which is a little bit bigger than 0. We'll have a bar that leads back over to our box. So that's our minimum at 3. And then I'm going to have one more whisker all the way down here, almost between 90 and 100 at 94. And that's going to be my max at 94. So that's my box and whisker plot, and I'm done. And luckily we can use our calculator to our advantage and have the calculator do most of the heavy lifting here.